This is a lecture from Open Tuition. For the free lecture notes that go with this podcast, please visit opentuition.com.
This next bit came into the past exam, into the last exam, page 107, Professions and the Public Interest. Is accountancy a profession? Is it? It's not the oldest one. No? You know the oldest one? Well, we'll not pursue that course of thought then, shall we? Professions and the public interest. The topic subdivides into what's the nature of a profession and therefore professionalism, and what's public interest. And where do accountants fit into society in the context of organisation and in society? What's the role of accountancy as a value-laden profession? Listen, just read this penultimate bullet point. Role of accountancy. Accountancy is claimed to be a value-laden profession capable of influencing the distribution of wealth and power in society. And there are issues surrounding accounting and acting against the public interest. So we'll look at each of these subheadings on page 108 and continuing. The definition of profession and professionalism. A profession is defined as an occupation requiring special training in the liberal arts or sciences, or it's a body of people in such an organisation. So where do you fit? Are you a liberal artist or are you a scientist? Because presumably you're trying to be, well, you are professionals and becoming better qualified professionals. But it's defined as an occupation requiring special training. Clearly you're getting special training because either you're training yourself and doing the exams at home, or you're like you and you're getting special training, helping you to pass these liberal art exams and scientific exams, which are known as the ACCA's exams. It's easily extended to accountants, it says there. But I think I probably wrote that with my tongue firmly in my cheek. I'm probably thinking, do we fit nicely into liberal art or science? Well, you tell me, you're the ones who are seeking to be professionals. Are you a liberal artist or are you a scientist? Actually, you're a bit of both. You are a bit of both. And when you get heavily involved in the preparation of financial statements, you'll see that although it is a scientific basis, as in debits and credits, there's also a degree of art about it. I wouldn't necessarily claim it to be a liberal art, but it's nevertheless artistic, and hence you get creative accounting, manipulative accounting, and distorted accounting. It says there is an art form involved. Do you not think so? Yeah. Professionalism is defined as taking action to support the public interest. I don't know where these definitions come from. I think I must probably have looked them up. I struggle really to fit taking action to support the public interest into the word that I knew was professionalism. But maybe it is. Gray, who's Gray? And who are his two friends? Owen and Adams. Yeah, Gray, Owen and Adams. And who's Emmanuel? Yeah, Emmanuel Kant. Emmanuel Kant. And who did he influence? What was his name? What was the name of the German Chancellor? I don't know if it's the one immediately before Angela Merkel's, but certainly he was Chancellor before she was. What was he called? He was called Helmut Kohl, yeah. And what's the German word for a mountain? Berg. So then you've got Helmut Mountain, or Kohlberg, yeah. So we've got Kohlberg. What was Kohlberg? What did Kohlberg say?
There were 3 levels with 6 stages.
There were 6 stages, split over 3 levels. Now Level 1 was what?
Immaterial.
Yeah, it's called, it's got a specific name though, it's called pre-conventional. Yeah, pre-conventional. And then level 2 was and then level 3 was conventional, post-conventional, yeah? And level 1 split down into me, didn't it? Self, 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 self. If I do well, I get a reward. If I do badly, I get punished. Yeah? And what was level 1, stage 2?
Well, I get something in return.
I will do something because it will benefit me. I will do it because it will benefit me, because if I do something which helps you, then you will benefit me. So we're beginning to see things not purely from one's own perspective, but we're just spreading it a little bit. If I do something for the benefit of someone else, then that will help me. What about level 2, stage 3? Are we not beginning to think about society? Is this not the stage where I accept that society needs to exist because I am a member of society, but I want to be liked by society. I want society to like me. So it's still me, it's still thinking about my own personal position, but I want society to like me, so I will do things that make society like me. And if that means I have to obey society's rules, then okay, I'll obey society's rules, because then society will continue to like me. Level 2, stage 4. What's level 2, stage 4? Hello?
About law and rights.
Yeah, we accept within level 2, stage 4, we accept the need for a structured, organised society, and therefore we accept the need also for rules and regulations and laws. And if we want to continue to have a structured, organised society, then we need to obey these laws. That's one of the things we have to do. Level 3, stage 5.
Is it about doing things right because it's right?
Yeah, we're into the deontology, that we shouldn't really need laws, but we're doing things which do obey the law and hopefully will make the ethical decision. But then it's only a short step to what I consider to be a really lovely step, step 6, level 3, stage 6, and that is that whereas you accept the law, you must also accept that some of it is bad law. And if it's bad law, then you have a duty to break it. You have a duty to break the law. But you must also accept that when you do break the law, you then have to accept the punishment as a result. And Kohlberg says there are too many inconsistencies in the responses at this level. That's why he's removed this level from his thinking, and says that we need to think even further and create level 4 and level 5, maybe level 6. He foresees that there could actually be up to 9 or 10 stages involved, 10 separate stages. So he's given us 6, but he's withdrawn the 6th. And the 6th one was the Gandhi and Mandela one. So Gray here, what did Gray say? What was Gray and Owen and Adams, what did they say? What was their position? What did they identify? Who's over here? You all know a girl with a name very similar to this. Pristine, yeah. Just think of Christine, the pristine capitalist. All right? The pristine capitalist says, profit, profit, profit. That's all I want. Never mind society. Never mind the planet. If I make a profit, that's great. Then we have...
Social approach?
No, not yet. Opportunist. The opportunist say, if you see an opportunity, seize it. However, we do accept that we have an element of social responsibility. We do need to think about, when we're seizing the opportunity, we do need to think about the consequences on society. And then we have the social contractors, the people who say, I am a member of society, therefore I am in a contract with society. So the social contractors are beginning to pay substantially more attention to the interests of society. They accept that in the actions that we take as a company, society is going to be affected. Then we get the social ecologists, and the social ecologists say what? That we have to protect the planet. We've got to protect the planet. So in any action that we do, we should be thinking primarily of sustainability, of pollution and or non-pollution, of purity, of thinking about the societies and the society's needs generally. So that would be the social ecologists. Then we have the socialists and their attitude. Yeah, capital is dominating and it's the wrong attitude and it shouldn't be a capitalist society, it should be a socialist society. I'm thinking that as a result of 80 years of Soviet occupation, those countries which were in the former Soviet Union may disagree with a socialist society, but on the other hand, those countries which were within the Soviet Union are now seeing levels of poverty in their older population that maybe some of you want to go back to, or some of these nations want to go back to a social structure. And in fact, in one of the Baltic countries, I think, in one of the Baltic countries, they've just had an election where the party which is heavily leaning towards Russian ideals has just been put into power. I think I'm right, I can't remember which country it was. Do you ever read the news or follow, you don't follow the political activities of other countries, just your own? Yeah, absolutely, all right. So that was the socialists. Then we have the feminists, yeah, and the feminists say, love and tender, and the other Elvis Presley songs, love me tender, love me sweet, and that society is male dominated and this has got to stop because it's all aggression and strength and competition and conflict and it's just got to stop. It's not the best way of achieving an ideal world. And then we have the total lunatics, the committed ecologists, yeah, the people who I can see a degree of favour in some of their ideas that we shouldn't be cutting plants to get the fibres, or shouldn't be taking the coats off sheep to get the wools to make the clothes. We should all be rustling around naked. We should be protecting the trees. That woke you up, didn't it? We should be protecting the trees and the animals and the birds and the fish and the undiscovered creatures of the deep. And we need to go back to a society which is rather more simple. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Anyway, that was Gray and his friends. Gray identified that a profession has two essential defining characteristics: a body of theory and knowledge which guides its practice and commitment to the public interest. So, do we have a body of theory in the accounting profession? Do we have a body of theory? Are there basic fundamental theories that underpin the profession? I think we're into double entry and accounting standards and auditing standards and standardisation. I think that's what the body of theory is that we're thinking about. And does it have knowledge which guides its practice and commitment to the public interest? Do accountants have knowledge? Do they? Where did they get that from? From people like me. Then people like you get knowledge from people like me, and then you prove that you've got that knowledge and you pass your exams, and then you in turn will pass that knowledge on to those people who come behind you. So I suppose we really have to accept that the ACCA does qualify, and accountants generally do qualify as a profession. Body of theory, just expanding a little bit on page 109. A body of theory, well, we've got ethical standards, and we've got accounting standards, and we've got auditing standards. And we've got an examination system which ensures that only people who appreciate and can regurgitate those standards are allowed to qualify. Only people with appropriate professional skills should be accepted into membership. So that's the body of theory. And knowledge which serves the public interest, we've got guidance notes on how to apply ethical standards. Got experience accumulated over longer than a century in the ACCA situation. Experience accumulated of the acceptability of accountants' actions, the application of ethics to specific situations. The need to remain as a profession in which the public can safely put its trust. There is a definitive, defined need for society to have a body such as accountants, a profession such as accountants. There is a need for society to be able to have people in whom they can trust. And I say it frequently and say, if you can't trust an accountant, who can you trust? Politicians? Policemen? Doctors? Lawyers? If you can't trust an accountant, who can you trust? Did I tell you about the two blind animals in the forest? Did I ever tell you that? No? Two blind animals, and they're walking in the forest one day, and they bump into each other. Of course they're blind, they couldn't see where they were going. And one says, "I'm sorry, I'm blind, I couldn't see you." And the other said, "I'm blind as well, I couldn't see you." "Oh, what are you?" said the first. And the second one said, "I don't know, I've no idea, I've never seen myself, so I don't know what I am." "I tell you what, why don't you feel me and see if you can tell me what I am?" So the first one started feeling the second, and he says, "Oh, you've got big floppy ears, and little whiskers, and a rounded back, and only little short front legs. But you've got strong back legs, and a little fluffy tail." He said, "I know what you are. You're a rabbit." "Oh, well, now it's your turn," said the first. So the second one starts feeling him and says, "Oh, you've got no legs. You're very low on the ground. You're long, and your skin is a little bit scaly. Let me feel you. You've got a forked tongue." He said, "I know what you are. You're an accountant." Or lawyer, or doctor, or politician, or whatever profession you want to apply that to. If you can't, seriously though, I will say it again, you're probably sick of me saying it. Seriously, if you can't trust an accountant, who can you trust? You have to be, and society needs a group, a body of people in whom they have absolute confidence, absolute trust. And that's what the accountancy profession is and should be. So yes, the accounting profession does apparently seem to fit the grey criteria and is rightly classed as a profession. And does this profession demonstrate the attributes of professionalism, taking action to support the public interest? Well, within any profession, the members are normally expected to take actions which contribute to public interest. And we are required, as one of the fundamental principles of the ACCA, that accountants should act with due professional care, should act with courtesy and consideration towards all those with whom they come into professional contact. We should be acting in the public interest, and we should be seen to be acting professionally. Independence is mentioned, and independence, certainly when I'm teaching F8, independence, I say, is an attitude of mind. You can satisfy all the criteria about being independent. That is, we have no family or friends who work at senior positions at the client, don't have any shares in the client or any beneficial interest. We get no gifts, no loans, no fees in excess of normal. So we can satisfy all those requirements of independence. But in the last exam, the overseeing accountant, the overseeing partner, had been operating for this company for 40 years. Is that independent? He sees himself, he said in the question, he sees himself as accountant, advisor and family friend. Well, where's the independence? It's no longer there. So once you get into the situation where you start liking your client, then you're not independent. Can I assume that all of you Big Four students don't like your clients? Yes, of course I can. So independence is an attitude of mind, but so too is professionalism. It's an attitude of mind. I'm qualified, I'm a qualified professional, but I like to think of myself as being professional. And I can be a qualified accountant, but lack the professionalism. And that's not good enough. If you're a member of an august body of qualified people, then you should treat yourself as though you were a professional. ACCA. For instance, I don't tell rude jokes or jokes which are at all vulgar. I don't make rude signs to you. I don't, because I'm a professional. I wouldn't expect for you to see me making a rude gesture towards you. That would be non-professional. ACCA sets out the rules for us to follow in our daily professional lives, but really it's down to you. It's up to you. It's up to your own personal code of ethics. Historically, the profession responded to crises as they arose. Reactive, we're becoming more proactive. We're trying to foresee crises before they happen and then address those crises before they do happen. Whether that's working or not, well, it's difficult to say. The public interest aspect of professionalism. What exactly is the public interest? Remember, we've got to take actions in accordance or in the public interest. But there's no definition of what is public interest. There is just no definition. It's safe to say that acts which are in the public interest should benefit society. It should be equally safe to say that acts against society are against the public interest. The actions of the accountant should be dictated by loyalty to society and not loyalty to the client. This man who's been the partner of this company discovers that the son of the family has been stealing from the company. Loyalty should be to society, not to the client. It's surely in society's interests that the stealing son should be reported. I don't know. I think so. Potential clashes between the interests of the public and basic human rights. This is interesting. It's a basic human right that you should have freedom. Freedom to live your life as you wish. It's a basic human right. But if you commit a crime and you're sent to prison, then you're being deprived of your freedom. And you're entitled to it. It's a basic human right. So we have a balance to strike here. Is it right that a criminal should be allowed to stay free, or is it right that a criminal should be sent to prison for the greater good of the greater number? It's clearly against society's interest to allow the person to have his freedom, and so the greater good, the democracy, says no, a criminal should go to jail. Similarly, a company may, acting through its majority, harm the rights of a minority shareholder. English law provides remedial or remedies available for the minority shareholder to protect their minority rights. The law will intervene if it's necessary to prevent unfairness, where those in control are abusing their power and using their power to the obvious detriment of the minority. The government may also find itself in position to regulate the affairs of a company in the interests of the public, for example, where the company is guilty of excessive pollution. And finally, on page 110, in the UK, the government has given power, for instance, to the National Rivers Authority to take action against companies who are found guilty of polluting rivers. Where my parents lived, I told you earlier that they live on the side of a hill, and down at the bottom of the hill is this slowly moving river. And it's slowly moving because it was so heavily polluted. It was almost a crust on the top. You could almost walk across the river. It was that polluted. It was just dreadful. And anything living in there, well, it could only have been out of a horror movie, anything that lived in that river before. And I remember as a little boy, I fell in the river on at least 3 occasions. And my sisters would pull me back up the hill and into the back area of my parents' house. And my mum would get the hose pipe and she'd have to wash me down. She wouldn't touch me in case she caught something. The river was so polluted, but she would hose me down with a hose pipe and wash me off so that I was nearly clean. But now there are fish in the river. There's trout and freshwater fish is now in the river because the National Rivers Authority has exercised its powers and fined the companies which are polluting the river, and the fines are so heavy that you clean up your acts, you change your production process. Just every now and then you'll see a sort of an iceberg of soap flakes, an iceberg of soap bubbles floating down the river. If you report that to the River Authority, they know exactly where it's come from. They can analyse exactly where that pollution has come from, and that company's paying a fine. So there is this element that the government will either themselves regulate or they will delegate the responsibility and authority to others in order that they can regulate.